Howdy y'all, it is Cody from the Keepers of Nerddom. How you all doing? It's been a little while. Just enjoying the holidays and finally getting back to some normalcy. I'm hoping to do some videos occasionally, but I just wanted to do a retrospective look at just Halo Infinite. It's kind of funny. This popped up just a second ago up here of the 25th anniversary unlocks, but when you click into it, for some reason it took me to the buy section immediately, which is really weird. I don't know why. So, yeah, interesting. It's a free unlock bundle containing the Axis 9 armor coating. Okay, so apparently it was just free. I wish they would have, shown something. There's some sort of information. But let me know down in the comments below. What do you think of Halo Infinite? What was it to you? Obviously, the multiplayer. There's a lot of fun there, and especially now, when it first started, it really was such a basic thing. This is interesting. Drop pod updated. Huh. Drop pod with door animation and hatch that flies off when it lands also respawns. That's cool. All these things, right? It's gotten amazing, and the maps that have been added because of people doing custom stuff are amazing. I'm not a fan of all these ways to just try to get money off of you, but it's there, and honestly, you could play the multiplayer for free, so that was amazing. So that's cool, but also, what can we not play for free? The answer actually was, you cannot play the campaign for free. You either have to have Game Pass or you buy $60 for the game, which feels really weird to pay $60 for a campaign that isn't going to last you very long. Is it fun? Actually, yeah, the campaign was it was fun, but because of the open world experience, it was not very much built to give you really truly a focused experience, which felt weird. What is this? That looks stupid. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, it was not a good thing in a way, because you could have fun, but then that's such a weird thing to say. Was the campaign fun? Yeah, it was. But also, was it not fun? Well, because of the open-endedness of it, it just, the open world of it, where you just go into little certain areas and then there would be a story, it felt like the story just was very small, very limited, because the open world stuff was more just go play, do stuff, kind of, and find maybe a mini boss or something. And yeah, it's interesting that it was fun to be able to go explore, but then you started realizing being out here in the open world stuff doesn't actually move necessarily stuff going on in the full story, which is weird. Weird to feel like that. It didn't have, from what I remember, it didn't have any impact on what happened inside of each mission area. And honestly, we didn't get a concluding fact of, did the Infinity survive? What happened? Did we actually fight my gosh, what are they called? The big crazy gorilla things that are part of not part of the Covenant with this group, but the Banished. What is his name? It's going to hit me later in an hour or two. I want to say Reshiram, but that's not right, because that's a Pokemon. Yeah, just one of those things that I don't think we actually ever fought him in the campaign. Yeah, we didn't. So then I've played the campaign, or the multiplayer, for several years now, and now we're into this last big battle pass that has this 100 tiers, or operation, and it's not the rewards are bad, but you have to pay to get the rest of the battle pass. And so what it feels like in playing this is we got a free game. Unlike Fortnite, where it's funny, Fortnite doesn't even feel as much of a money grab as this, which is kind of crazy to say, because you go to Fortnite and its item shop is chock full of crazy expensive things, especially now with the pets and the shoes. stuff like that, just ridiculous. And before that, right, the car skins and even emotes. You pay several dollars for emotes and stuff. It's kind of wild for each emote. What do we gain out of that? Fun stuff. This thing, it's all of that kind of stuff, but not as randomly interesting in some ways. Now, if you're just watching, like, obviously our skins now, years down the road, are pretty different from each other. And there's a lot of cool stuff that has happened over time. It's amazing now. That's what's sad. Like, what we have now is awesome. This game, if it had launched like this, would we be in the state we are now? The answer actually is no. We wouldn't. What we would be in is a really exciting place where everything would be happening and there would still be people playing. This game was supposed to be, if memory serves, a 10-year game, right? That it was designed to be forever. 10 years in video games is forever. This is what I'm saying. And that was the idea, was this was supposed to be the game that you played Halo on, and the campaign was going to have updates, constant. And here's the irony. Did we get constant updates? We didn't, right? We got, well, what updates did we get to the campaign? I don't know if we got any. Just kind of wild to think. We got nothing to improve the campaign because Halo Infinite didn't sell well. Ironically, it's in no small part to the fact that Halo Infinite launched like so many AAA games do today. Incomplete, half-made, barely functioning, issues that should have been addressed a long time ago with this promise, quote-unquote promise, of we'll fix it later. But the reality is that fix only happens if everything goes well. Like, the game sells in a certain amount, whatever their expectation is number-wise. But if it does not sell well enough, then they will not do what they say. They will give some, but that's as far as they'll go, is however much money it made, they'll put it on for that long. It makes me really think, ironically, of Star Wars Battlefront 2, where I think Star Wars Battlefront 2, the one best part of it was that they recognized that they had screwed up, and they were at least willing to say, okay, we're going to go back to the drawing board and fix it. Because they did. And Halo Infinite, did they fix things over time? Yes, they did. It wasn't that they had to rip out the spine of it like they did with Star Wars Battlefront 2, because it was a loot box mechanic. And granted, like, that's a whole different issue. Loot box mechanics they're unsustainable. They're bad. They're terrible, terrible things for a game. Because what do? They encourage a poor economy system that's random, so you can never guarantee that you're going to actually unlock the things that you are wanting. Like, you could play for years and potentially never get some of the things that you want, specifically depending on the loot box system, which is wild to me to think about, that you could actually go through and never get a lot of the things that you want. Wild to have that happen. And so this is a better system as far as the store, but this whole idea that you have to pay for so much of these things, and at first we got big battle passes with bigger updates to multiplayer and all these things, and we watched it shrink and do really strange things to where the operations were just these little mini passes. Still fun. And then they started adding the operations that were bigger again and longer, but also you'd get a free thing, and then you'd also have to, if you wanted all of the stuff, you'd have to pay for it. And so they would lock the coolest stuff behind the paywall, and the rest of us would get some stuff, but not anything currency-wise. I guess also my perspective is a little bit jaded because of playing Fortnite, actually, I feel like I don't have to pay for a lot. And it's weird because I don't actually have to pay for a lot of things. For one really silly reason. I don't pay for those things because I purchased Save the World for like 17, 18 bucks or whatever, something like that, or even cheaper, I don't know. It was nothing. And I got their original game that is tied into the Fortnite that we all know and love, right, quote unquote, of Battle Royale with all the different modes. And I can get V-Bucks every day. I can go and get some sort of reward. And so I get regular V-Bucks. So skins for me, unless they actually cost real physical money, I earn. And also, Fortnite, if you can afford the Battle Pass, will always give you enough V-Bucks in those Battle Passes to purchase the next Battle Pass. And if you were to just save those, you could slowly buy some skins. It wouldn't be much, but you'd have some, which is kind of cool, right? That's not typical. Whereas Halo Infinite, what can you get in the store? The answer is, unless it's now in the exchange where you can trade your Spartan points, you cannot just purchase skins. And the exchange came later. And at first we were even told, if memory serves, that we could only have a pretty limited store because they were saying something about the program that they were running was really limited, which was hilarious to hear, that this game had weird limitations in its programming built in, and it's supposed to be the new Halo, right? Like, really? It feels like, a beautiful game, but a game with some weird limitations that shouldn't be the case. Very, very strange. As a side note, I've been totally just healing this silly gun goose just because it's fun to run around with. Just for the memes, something fun to shoot the grunts with. I don't even play serious multiplayer in this much anymore, just because at this point it's more about just having fun. And the firefight is fun. It's just a joy, especially just against the grunts and stuff. It's pretty mindless. You can even put it on legendary grunt stuff, and especially with the Fiesta or the unlimited ammo and stuff, just fun. But again, I used to play a lot more serious Halo, and here's the one thing I will say that's really been a solid about Halo Infinite, and I would imagine just about anybody could agree, it was a return to form, as far as it felt more like Halo 3 and Halo Reach. Still miss dual wielding. I miss dual wielding from Halo 3. I really do. And I guess Halo 2, but yeah, Halo 3 is where we got to really see it. Just have some options, and it was fun. Man, if they would have just kept developing that, what could we have had? It would have been so enjoyable, the crazy sauce of what could have been. The other thing that was returned to form, for the most part, right, was how armor looks and feels is more the chunky, heavy awesomeness of the Spartans from back in the day. And I say that with some exceptions, because obviously we had some armor. They had the armor kits that they updated later too, where you could then put more of the features of different armors on other armors, which everybody seemed to complain about that, and I think that's really funny. Well, it finally went down. I think that's really funny that they would complain that we have multiple armors to pick from and customize, that was limiting. And it's like, yeah, because they're supposed to be slightly different designs with customization inside of it. I wish they would have kept it to where we could have had maybe some pieces that were movable in between, but some that were specific to a specific armor thing, just because it was kind of neat, because then you had to go and build into that armor and go, I like this, and then these pieces. But it is also nice to have more customization, right? It's kind of a double-edged sword, where it's like, okay, both and kind of deal. I get it. There's both pieces where I see it's of use. So I am happy with more customization, don't get me wrong, but it did feel like it came then at the expense of any focusing in on choice. Because in old Halo games, you know, you could put every piece on an armor, right, and mix and match to an extent, but there was also really few pieces. So it was like, did you have options? Yeah, but the options were really low. There wasn't very much. Which, granted, it was older games, older time. Yeah, Halo 3, man, some of those armors still. Hayabusa and, is it Recon? Man, there's a few, I can't remember. Hayabusa definitely with the katana and all that. Oh, man. So that's why, you know, I've got some of these in here that look like a samurai and World War I trench soldier. Love it. Feels good to have that as a thing still. You know, and it does. It feels like most of these armors are really chunky, and then there's like the real, which is good. Feels like actual Halo, and, you know, we can run and stuff and do some of the more modern movement stuff, but it doesn't feel like Halo 4 and 5 shenanigans that happened. It was Halo 4, Halo 5. Was there a Halo 6, or is it just went to Infinite? I can't remember. I guess it was Halo 5. Because Halo 5 was Guardians? And it just had these really weird-looking armors that, granted, you can do those designs in this game, too, which is interesting if you like them. Which, more power to you. If you like them, you like them. Awesome. I'm glad that it's come back, but it wasn't also a focal point for everything in here. I'm glad for that. I'm glad that it didn't just have to be like this thing that didn't look like Halo. There was a certain aesthetic, and then all of a sudden it's like we got to streamline everything and make it look really futuristic, and we still have one of those armor kits that is like that. I can't remember which one it's called, but it's very futuristic looking, very strange. And the one thing I liked about it was just that you could get panels for it, and I guess now technically you put those panels on anybody, but you put these panels on, and what it would do was they would change to colors based, I believe, on your visor color, which was just fun. That was a fun customization, but it did not look like old school Halo. It looked like the new Halo 4 and 5 stuff that was very, oh goodness, right? Just very streamlined, very futuristic, whereas old school Halo 3 and Reach stuff was, is it futuristic? Yes, but also military, which has a different feel to it, right? Where it's going to be usable, not just high-tech fancy. Because I think that's the interesting thing, too, to think about in the secular, or the commercial world. That's a better word for it. In the commercial world, they always are trying to innovate into something bigger, better, shinier, where military goes, we want it, and we want to just make sure that it's protected and usable. It feels like a lot, you know, when you just look at certain things and aspects of things. Now, granted, even in the military, things like aircraft are slowly getting more and more streamlined and stealthy, whatnot. Granted, okay, so it's not like it's just constantly through the board that that's the correct thing. But for so many years, it was just rough, rugged, and if it looks usable and good, it was good. And that's the reality. Like, what is the, I don't know. It just really bothers me that sometimes we go, let's make this all so streamlined. Now, granted, this is, again, poor judgment call, I suppose, in my part. The reality is this. Where, you know, some of these Halo games, the time frames in between them are a few years, if not decades. Because Master Chief can be in cryo sleep, and so they don't actually have to have the story happen, you know, within 6 months. And so some of these armors can be, you know, 15 years down the road. So yeah, it would be innovation, updating, but some of it was, we want these very chunky armors because the armor plating then absorbs things. Now, granted, some of it also comes down to they get more and more shielding technology from studying the Covenant stuff. So sure, because man, you play like the older Halo games and you have to have the med packs and stuff, and everything was just different. And, you know, at first they try to explain it away, but it was also just gameplay upgrades. But really, they explained it too as upgrades to the suit, which that's kind of cool. That is fun, because it's accurate. These suits slowly are upgrading and updating. And they're also going, yeah, we have better graphics because we're on a newer console, whatever, right? Or PC. Just kind of something to think about. Actually, I was looking at that, and what was it? The Game Boy Pocket was it 8 kilobytes, I think, of RAM that it was using to actually run video games on that little thing. It's so wild. I just sometimes going back to the old stuff is hilariously interesting because they had to make do with some of the most crazy limitations compared to what we have today. You know, gigs and gigs of space for video games, and they look amazing, but also I could play a game on a Game Boy Pocket or Game Boy, right, that is taking up no space compared to stuff today, and yet still is interesting and fun potentially depending on the game. Now, it's like even games today. Are all games made equal? No, not even any AAA games are any good sometimes. That's the truth, isn't it? And even Halo Infinite, unfortunately, had that happen where it didn't start off where it should have, and it cost all of us. It cost not Bungie, right? But 343 Industries now, what is it? Halo Studios is what they're called, and it cost them. It cost them in that this game was supposed to be 10 years, and what are we, 3 or 4 years down the road? It's not great, right? And it's unfortunate because the game now is awesome. Like, it's fun. It's got more weapons. It's got so much customization. It's got so much to do as far as the multiplayer and the people that have come by and made custom maps. That's another thing. Really, it was the people making custom maps behind the scenes that weren't hired to work for 343 Industries that have made Halo Infinite what it is today in so many ways. Not to just take away from what Halo Studios now, right, has done, because they've done a lot. But it's also some of these maps and things that were added were from assets that they just gave access to people to mess with. And now we have so much more, right? I'm even holding one of these weapons that's, you know, somewhat of a callback to an older weapon from older games. Halo 3's, what was it? It was the Covenant rocket launcher, whatever it was called. Plasma cannon? I can't remember. But it's neat. I'm glad they have it, but they totally just reskinned the rocket launcher for it and then changed how it functions when it fires, which is just fine, but also, you know, it is totally a reskin of the rocket launcher, which cracks me up because it's like they're just reusing assets rather than completely redoing. So then we got like the gravity hammer shotgun thing, which is actually really cool. That's amazing, right? Man, if we kept getting updates, if we kept getting things for the campaign, honestly, probably if the campaign was free or way less than that, and not just separated, because I think they were wanting to really try this idea of the multiplayer is now going to be almost like the Call of Duty stuff, where you log in and you download like 150 gigs plus or whatever for this game, just because everything of their universe is going to be tied in, and when you go into multiplayer, you're playing like several different options. They even had it for the Master Chief Collection, where you could just play multiple different games inside of that game. And so I almost have the sneaking suspicion that's what they were hoping for here. Why are we still not done with this round? This is really taking forever. I have that feeling like that was going to be their intention, is just come out with some new game, quote unquote, but it was just like a new campaign. But the multiplayer was still the same with, now we're updating the multiplayer with these assets because of this this campaign, because we're continuing it. You have to buy the campaign, basically, like it's Halo Infinite 2, Halo Infinite 3, da-da-da-da-da. And unfortunately, because of their business model, because it didn't come out fully fleshed out, it died. It died in front of our eyes. Just not enough interest level, not enough financial gain. And I'm sure they have probably, whether they would ever admit it or not, which I bet they would never admit it, the amount of money that they have made off of this store, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, right? And unfortunately, because it didn't make that out of the gate, it was too little too late. And unfortunately, if they would just have kept updating this and working on it, and also having had released a game that was complete and felt like the whole cheeseburger instead of just the buns with a little bit of meat in the middle, right? We would have had something special, right? Like this knight suit of armor that I'm wearing right here on the loading, the after action report screen, and it's like a great outfit of armor, man. There's some sick customization in this game. I wish it'd also carry over to other games so you could bring your armors in, but that would also then not make them money. Even if they had it like for $5, you can bring your armor set into the next game or something. Okay, right? If it was a good enough game, I might be tempted to do that. Just a thought. I know. But this is the era we're living in where everything is monetized. Everything has a cost somewhere except for the gameplay. So we're going to let you play this for free, but then if you want to look cool and interesting, because it brings in more money in the long term, but you also have to have a player base. That's the reality. You have to have a player base. And unfortunately for Halo Infinite, its player base died on the vine because at launch, there just wasn't enough and they weren't updating things quick enough. And again, it goes back to like Star Wars Battlefront 2. They didn't update things fast enough because they had to rip the whole guts out of the thing of the loot box system because everybody was getting upset about it. Because it was ridiculous and crazy and silly. There's a part of me that kind of enjoyed it because I was still in that era of the loot box. Man, Overwatch, Black Ops 3? Is that what it was? I think it was the futuristic one where you could wall run and you had like little jetpacks on your back and do all the crazy stuff and futuristic weapons. I always liked that game. And it was fun, but the loot box system was crazy. Just silly. So, yeah, it was on that tail end of the era, but governments and things were getting pretty upset about it because it's true. Like, you open something with no guarantee of anything of use. More than often than not, you just get duplicates of junk. And so they had to rip out the guts of that, and took so long to update that by the time they did, even though the game was amazing, and by the time they stopped updating, it was too little too late. Everybody had left, and they didn't have a good business model system for their store very well, because they had cool skins. They really did, but too little too late, right? And same with Halo Infinite. Got a lot. I mean, it's tons here. Absolutely tons. It's kind of ridiculous how much is in the shop today. Just that you could buy, but $3,200, right? $3,200. Let's buy the bundle. Let's see what we got. Buy credits. $3,200. I would have to pay. That's $50 to get any credits of enough to purchase it. That's the reality of what we're talking about. Now, do you get a lot? Well, yeah, you get tons of stuff. But why would you buy this now? Because the game is a defunct game. It's not working. It's a game that's seen the end of its life cycle in a way, and so we're talking about a game that, what else is there, right? The answer is I don't know. What the heck is that little antenna? That actually looks kind of fun. There it is. Helmet attachment. That looks silly. Huh. That looks really good, actually. I like that. That's a cool helmet. And that's the problem. Like, this is cool stuff. That's how some of these armor plates, though, are pretty, like, so chunky it doesn't even make sense. Like, they just go so far out from the chest. You're like, that, man, you'd hit the wall and be like, what did I hit? And look down and go, oh yeah, like, my armor sticks out an extra 1.5 feet. It's funny, some of them. I own this? Willow Key 2? Huh. I don't know when I got that. But we are in a really amazing customization time frame. You know, I haven't bought a whole lot, but because of all the Battle Pass operation stuff, you know, I've got the Mark IV, the Mark 7 looks sick. My Mark 5 with my, what's the JFO helmet, one of my favorite helmets from Halo 3. The Samurai Yorai armor looks sick. My World War I trench guy, Eagle Strike armor core. Then Rakshasa, oh no. And then Chimera, that's what it was. Mirage 2. Ah! Right? These different armors, cores that now you can customize. So what's different between them is just basically like the undersuit and some cosmetic things around the pieces that you'll add or take away. It's different, but also, at that point, why, you know, I kind of like the armor core system. It could have really, I don't know. I think they could have gone more into that with some customization in between, or like you earn it in between them. Like that would have been cool. Earn it so that way you could equip this piece onto the other. That would have been interesting. Instead, they just went, oh, okay, we'll just put it on everything, which I get it. They were like, oh, people are mad. Well, yeah, they are mad because you give them more customization and you can't use it. Da, 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 da. I get it, but also, come on, guys. Like, there could have been a better way. Earning it would have been so much better. Remember when we had to earn stuff in Halo 3, right? And it was fun because it gave us things to work towards other than just playing the game. Like, we were looking for skulls, we were earning our stuff while we played things, and then earning the points to purchase what we wanted for a customization for our armor in Halo 3. Was it really more Reach? I guess it was Reach. But I feel like Halo 3 had it too. I think it did. Just, you know, we didn't realize how good we had it, did we? We just didn't know. We did not know. And it's what happens whenever more money is put into the expectation and it gets more and more crazy. And it gets grosser and grosser. That's the reality of what we've come a part of. So, what do you think about Halo Infinite? You know, is it something you actually still play? Do you even touch it? Is it just one of those that you go, oh yeah, that game still exists? Because I think it's always funny, like, just think that people still play GTA because they're still waiting on the whatever one that's coming out, 6 or whatever. I don't know. But it cracks me up that they're still playing a game that it's ancient in video game terms, right? But Halo Infinite in ways is ancient too. Not GTA ancient, but it's kind of fascinating just to think about that some games, I'll be honest, right? I don't care about the age of a game. If it's a good game, I want to play it. And that's the funny thing. Like, I go back and I play video games from the 90s still on my computer and my Game Boy Pocket and Color and these things, and DS as well for certain games because they're a little newer. But it's because they were good, Link's Awakening. Pretty sure that's the Game Boy game, right? I think so. It's a really good game, man. It's fun. Like, you're going to still have fun with that if you play it. It's awesome. Like, when a game is good, it's good. And that's just it. Like, I kept playing Halo Infinite because I'm like, ooh, I can earn stuff. That's what the operations were fun. You can earn stuff for free. All the crap in the store, I'm like, nope. But then when they added finally the exchange, right, with the Spartan points, it was great because I could earn stuff again. Just by playing over time, I would slowly gain coins for the Spartan exchange, or the exchange, the Spartan points, and then be able to purchase things that I like if they show up in there, which, unfortunately not everything showed up, but I wish it would have, because what a great system over time that, yeah, you could work for it and get it eventually, or you can pay us money and get it now. I'm okay with that, because then I go, you know what? If I earn this, it's special to me, because I'm not looking at it going, yeah, I just paid $10 and it's mine. Whether I went, yeah, I played 20, 40 hours or whatever it is for this cosmetic item to customize my helmet, to my suit, my upgrade, whatever. And now I look different and awesome. If they had had that at the beginning, I think it would have mattered a lot. It really would have. Unfortunately, they didn't. And that's why it's so hard. Like, if you were to evaluate this game as it stands right now, you are evaluating a pretty neat, good game overall. But it's a neat, pretty good game that if it had been like this at the beginning, we would still be playing it regularly with updates to campaign, possibly to the store, to the different things, instead of moving on to the next Halo game. This would have been like the game you just went, okay, Halo Infinite Part 2 of the campaign. Pay us $20 to gain access to this. You also gain access to these cosmetics and get to play through this area. And it unlocks these different things that, I don't know, right? I'm just spitballing because that's probably what they would have done. But whatever. It's not what happened because they like money, and this didn't make all the money they were hoping because they didn't treat it like it was supposed to be. And the best thing that they could have done is delayed it until it was ready. That would have been frustrating. But if it had been delayed for a few more months and actually had a way more content, everybody would have been happier. And also stuck around longer, because then it wasn't the game that you went, there's not much here. Because that's sad. That's a sad place to be. Let me know in the comments below. Halo Infinite. What's your thoughts on it? Do you still play it? Do you even think about it at all, ever? Like, do you even turn it on? I get it if you don't. It's I mean, it's an older game at this point. Still looks great. It really does. But unfortunately, it died on the vine because of poor decisions that AAA games have been notorious for. That's why anymore today, when somebody goes, "Oh, the new game's coming out, are you getting it?" I go, "No." And they look at me funny sometimes until we've had this conversation. I go, "Why would I buy it brand new when more than likely it will not be complete? I will get half the game or a third of the game that's really supposed to be there. And also, I possibly could just buy it in a year or two on Black Friday for half the price." And they unfortunately usually go, "Oh yeah, that's true." And I'm like, yeah, that's the unfortunate thing, is it is true, and it sucks that it's true. So that should not be the case, you know? The game should be doing fine in a year and a half, 2 years, right? And not be half price. And I've seen several games where that's happened, and I get it on a Black Friday sale, and I'm like, "Ooh, that was awesome." And I enjoy the game then because I also get way more content, because AAA games don't put everything in right away. So they also fix the bugs that were present at the very beginning because they launched it without having fixed everything. That's the other reality. So let me know in the comments below. What do you think about AAA gaming? What do you think about Halo Infinite? What do you think about the game that will eventually replace Halo Infinite from Halo Studios, or whatever it's called? I think that's what it's called. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Like, share, and subscribe. Again, it's been fun to just talk with you all. I always enjoy seeing the comments down below and getting to have a little bit of conversation with you all. Right? I'd love to have bigger conversations. It's just usually, I know, comments in YouTube videos depends, you know, could be really big, could be pretty short, or whatever. But I'm always grateful for that, and it is always enjoyable to have conversation on what's your all's thoughts, because that's the reality. Is these channels and stuff, they're made to have conversations with you all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Like, share, and subscribe. I've been Cody from the Keepers of Nerddom. Take care, y'all. Bye.
Weapon drop. Precision sniper available.
Set, start. Hill incoming.